one of the best ways that we found to find and keep volunteers is that when we go into a neighborhood to start a market, it's not because we march in there and say, we know best, we're going to put a farmer's market in this neighborhood. It's because the neighborhood has come to us. And because there is passion and interest in the neighborhood, we create a stakeholders group. And we work very closely with the stakeholders group to determine a location, and they're the ones who are they're going to be the ambassadors for the market. They're the ones who are going to go out into the community and tell our story and talk to their neighbors and go to their schools and churches and talk up the farmers market. So generally from that group of stakeholders in the neighborhood, we get a wonderful group of volunteers. And we can usually rely on that group for at least the first 2 or 3 years of the market. Volunteer burnout is a reality, and sometimes it's a little hard to build a second generation of volunteers after the first one. But then we try to plan for the market becoming self-sustaining in the meantime, so that we're not relying on volunteers for any essential tasks going into year 4 and 5.
The most important thing is to figure out what it is that they want to get out of the experience and craft a volunteer experience that suits what they're looking for. The most challenging way to go about managing volunteers is to fit them into the little boxes that you want them to be in. And you'll find that if you try to make volunteers work around what it is that you need only, that they won't stick around very long. But if you do the work up front to figure out what it is that they're hoping to get out of the experience at the market or whatever it is that they're doing, and then give them tasks that, they're obviously very beneficial to you, but that are really suiting what they're looking for, you'll find that they come back and will be happy to then sometimes take on the other tasks that maybe they weren't as keen on doing in the first place.
Training is really important, and we have volunteers who are trained on different systems at our market. Some volunteers will help us with beverage service, coffee, iced tea, iced coffee, and water. Also going around and doing price comparisons. But on each individual task, we'll train volunteers for that task. Volunteers who have been with us longer, who we feel are very detail-oriented, will train on our credit card machine. And that's something where we're talking about people's money. It's something we take very seriously. So we want to make certain that there's thorough training. Our finance director will meet with those volunteers, walk them through the entire process. It's not our entire volunteer base that will participate in that training, but regardless, we try as much as we can to find tasks, jobs, projects in the market where we can plug people in and really incorporate as much of the community into our volunteer program as possible.
So volunteers for us are a very important part of the season. We have one market manager who is there in the morning. Typically our market managers are running 3 or 4 markets a week, and so after a couple months of doing that, a couple months into the season, there can be a little bit of burnout and it's hot and they're tired, and so volunteers really play a pivotal role in getting the market, helping out at the market with promotions. So they'll help with cooking demos or flyering. We bring a lot of volunteers into our office to do some help with some back-end admin work, but really it works. We get primarily through word of mouth. We have a lot more volunteers than we can almost take right now. So as far as recruitment goes, sure, you can talk to schools. High school interns and volunteers are great, and also college students are wonderful too. But I'd say talk to schools, talk to your community groups, and get people in and involved in the market. I like to get most of our interns or volunteers, give them a few hours in the office doing some of the kind of mundane work that we really need help with, and then in return I'll give them 10 or 15 hours at the market where they really enjoy helping out. We retain them by treating them like the gold that they are. I mean, we hold their hands, we teach them everything we know about running markets, we introduce them to the farmers appreciate them, we send them thank you notes, we invite them to staff parties, we invite them on staff trips, and we really, we just reinforce over and over how important they are and how much we appreciate them. And I think that more than anything helps retain volunteers is just the constant reinforcement of appreciation.